join me in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Costick,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. Isabella,
Yes, here.
Mr. Bosley,
Here.
Ms. Kelting,
Here.
Town Clerk is here, Mr. Favreau.
Here.
Thank you. Public comments, seeing no public comments. Actually, why don't we I'm gonna hop over to the first resolution. We'll go through the drafts and I'll come back to my report. So we do have one resolution to act on this evening, resolution number 51, easement authorization, Delaware River Solar Benny Blake Road project.
Whereas the Delaware River Solar Benny Blake Site Plan and Special Use Permit Project identified the need for an access easement over lands of the town of Plattsburgh known as Benny Blake Road in order to develop access for the proposed project. And whereas the proposed easement in gross identifies an approximate 49.5 foot wide and 380.72 foot long access easement along the eastern boundary line of the recently subdivided parcel identified in Schedule A of the draft easement for consideration. And whereas the project is subject to the solar local law, zoning ordinance, and all conditions set forth in the detailed preliminary plan approval by the planning board, as well as those to be applied by the codes and zoning department for building permits and energization. Now therefore be it resolved that the town supervisor be authorized to sign an easement, that it be filed with the necessary forms at Clinton County, and that a certified copy of said resolution be returned to the Planning and Community Development Department and the project representative and council.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Tom, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Draft resolutions for consideration for next week, the minutes, carpet installation, that will be to finish up the carpeting in offices, et cetera. I think everybody knows we did the corridors, the main rooms, those areas, so we're gonna start working on that. We're working out on a plan with that. Mainly just to make sure that we get those done in a timely fashion. We're going to do them probably in evenings. So buildings and grounds and parks will work together to get stuff moved out. They'll do those offices and then move everything back in the next day. Recreation program contract, birch basket making. Request for a 2-ton hot box for the highway department. That's a replacement piece of equipment. Draft zoning amendments and seeker public hearing notice. That's going to be for the salt containment facility. I'll go over that in just a second. Resolution for the adoption of town board, for local law number 1. That's really an administrative, that's acceptance of the state uniform fire and building code. We have to do that one every 5 years. And then salt storage facility immunity granted again for zoning. So off my notes, please make sure that you've reviewed the draft information for the zoning amendments. If you have any questions with that, I would strongly suggest you reach out to Trevor or Jess. Hello, Jess.
Hello.
If you have any questions about that, I think they've done an excellent job with that. I've reviewed it, sat down with Trevor yesterday, went through the details of it, looked at it on the zoning maps, etc. So, you know, if you have any questions about it, I would get to one of the two of them. You know, I think it's a very good plan, and I think it satisfies everything that we need to satisfy. Also on for next week is salt storage facility. We're gonna pass a resolution, or put forth a resolution, I should say, for immunity to zoning board appeal. I met with the county, actually Jess, Greg and myself met with the county last Friday, so we are moving forward with it. They did have a lot of questions. We are working out terms of the lease. Should be substantially less than what was originally discussed, and also an option to buy written into the lease. So we are working that out, but we're waiting for the final details to get the lease back over to us. But it was a good meeting. There's a lot moving on with that. There are some concerns. As everybody knows, we requested that there be a public hearing, not required, but we did request to have a public hearing regarding the salt storage facility, mainly because we wanted to have, anybody that wanted to come in from the community, the opportunity to discuss it with us. The 500-foot letters were sent out, so folks in the neighborhood will know that it's gonna be there. We have met with some people from the fair board, et cetera, just to make sure that they understood what was going on, because there was some concerns there, but I think we're moving along in pretty good shape, and pretty pleased with that. Just a couple other things for everybody aware. NIAT, I think everybody knows what our arrangements are as far as Association of Towns. If you haven't looked at it already, their phone app, you can do your agenda on the app and set up your own sessions. So that's all loaded in now. That finished loading in this week, and that's the way I've done it the last few years. It's really easy. You can set up your own agenda.
So I can teach a course on credit
Tom,
cards or something?
we
I just set it up?
We did print a paper copy for you, Tom, and I have a highlighter for you with the format, where to go. So, one of the things that came out of I went to the County Emergency Services last Thursday for a county emergency plan review with Division of Homeland Security Emergency Services from the state. One of the things that we are gonna start working on is a COOP, which is a continuation of operations plan. So we will start working on that. I talked to the department heads about it this morning, so there's gonna be some work, but basically it's gonna be a plan for us to operate, should we have some sort of disaster that may, impede operations in some way, shape, or manner. Liaison meetings, thank you. I know that people have been getting to them. Let's just make sure we keep everything on track. I know everybody's busy, but it's important that we get to the liaison meetings with the department heads. And please, 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 if you're not gonna make it, make sure the department head knows you're not gonna be there. Because a lot of times they set up their schedule and they have people coming and going, meetings, et cetera. We just need to make sure that we're respectful of their time. Speaking of meetings, another one that I'm gonna attend with Jess and Trevor is on 3/4. We're gonna be going to the Lake Champlain Basin, I think it's there, right? Over at
Grand Isle, yeah.
Grand Isle. That's another meeting with them in regards to the air base storm sewer. Trevor and Jess are gonna be doing a presentation to the technical committee.
It's a technical advisory committee, so
Okay.
they have a couple different committees for the basin program, but their technical advisory committee consists of mostly environmental practitioners from both sides of the lake and Canada. And they kind of weigh in on grant applications and other things that go before the basin program. So like there's SUNY professors and stuff like that on it. So they have to be the ones to bless it if they're gonna move forward.
So everybody feels good about it. The Lake Champlain Basin folks feel good about it. I'm not going for any of the technical stuff. I'm just a pretty face in the room when we get there.
As always.
I have
We
no idea. They're gonna be at about 10,000 feet over my level, so But we thought it best if I tag along, because obviously the town is very interested in continuing forward with that. That's probably gonna be, hopefully, the money for the study, which would be 600,000 from them, 60,000 from the DEC grant that we received, so that'll be a $660,000 study. That'll be scoping everything and build up the scope of work, et cetera. So this is a huge, huge step in what's gonna be eventually a multi-million-dollar project, upwards of potentially $30 million project. So this is huge, so important for us. Last couple things in the, well, I'll give you not so good news and then good news, but the not so good is not that bad. I had the business office just run numbers on salt, because there's a lot of discussion about salt availability. We have no problem with salt availability. We're in good shape with the way that we're working it, so we're gonna have no problem finishing out the year with our salt. We have used through 2/1, 2,037 tons of salt. That compares same time period last year, 1,418 tons. It's about a 43% increase. But if you look at the weather, it's been December and January were 2 solid months of operation, basically.
And we're doing 7
7.
runs, 7 full salt runs now. We only were doing 2 or 3 last year. So,
Well, I've said this all along, I have not made a single trip to Malone and or back since Thanksgiving that hasn't had at least one storm somewhere along that way, either way.
Yeah.
So,
It's just been that kind of winter, so I think if you look at those numbers, given the fact that we basically, we went from 2 to 7, so we more than tripled.
But don't we have the trucks outfitted to use less
Correct.
salt? And
Yeah.
you're saying we 43% more than last year using less?
Well, 43% more salt, but we're doing 3 times as many runs.
salt runs.
Salt runs as we were, a little more than 3 times, 3.5 times
yeah.
the number of salt runs that we did. And yes, the trucks, the newer ones have the computers in them, and those that don't have computers in them are calibrated, and they're consistently checking that calibration to make sure they have a bucket basically that they dump under it, run it, dump it, and then recalibrate to make sure that they're dumping the right amount of salt.
Okay.
And I challenged people, nothing against state DOT, but go drive behind the state DOT truck going up Route 3, then get behind one of ours. And just watch the difference in the way that salt's coming out. And that's because these folks that we have are constantly recalibrating, making sure they're operating properly.
So we've had a longer salt season, a tougher winter.
Yep.
And we've tripled basically the number of salt runs that we're doing, pure salt, no sand.
Well, if you do all that, sounds like 43% isn't much at all.
No,
Right.
not when you think about 3.5 times, so. So last thing I wanted to mention, we had, got in our final sales tax revenue numbers, for the year 2025. We came in at $395,000 ahead of what we budgeted for our sales tax. That's, we came in at 108.9%. So well above, so we ended up almost 400,000 to the plus in our sales tax.
I know how we can spend some of that.
No, Tom, thanks anyways. Salt.
Right.
But that is gonna be divvied up. That'll be divvied up, or actually Jennifer's already divvied it up. So just under 195,000 went over to the general fund, and 200,000 went into highway. she divvied it just a little bit different, to help out with the salt. Because they did budget a little lighter for the salt, so, you know, budget-wise, we're a little bit off with the salt, but, I mean, we're gonna be fine with it. Because we have a lot more there, so, there, I droned down enough. Any committee reports?
I just will say two things, maybe three. Plaza Boulevard, the lights have been fixed, so for anybody that was concerned that its plaza has been in the dark for quite a while, that has been fixed. Please let us know whenever there's a problem with lights in the area, or safety, so that, you know, we can make sure to follow up and take care of that. Also, Smithfield Boulevard, the lining of the pipes underneath, has been completed, so you won't have any more detours around trucks and all of that. That has been completed. And I wanna thank, the Planning and Community Development Department. Thank you, Jess, and please carry this to Trevor and Michelle, for how quickly you guys were able to put this zoning ordinance amendment research white paper together for us. I really do appreciate the time and energy that was put into that. I know you've been working on grant applications, like I think one just went out for recreation for, I don't even remember how much, 140.
Yeah, altogether about $300,000 project.
Yeah, for parks. So they've been working on grant applications, working on this, and the basin, Lake Champlain Basin project. So a lot of stuff in the hopper on top of the normal stuff. So thank you for the time that you're putting into all this. That's it for me.
Do you wanna say?
I don't have a committee report, but just because leaders sometimes are unsung heroes, and so to prove that you're not just the pretty face of our organization, unrelated to the town, I had a meeting with Senator Steck's office on Tuesday, and Deb from his office couldn't rave enough about how the continuity of the town of Plattsburgh and its leadership has carried over from the departure of Assemblymember Cashman, Michael Cashman, to you, Chuck. And I think that should be mentioned and should be praised. So thank you for your stepping up to this leadership role and guiding us all through without skipping a beat. And it goes noticed beyond this board, so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
now he has to principally watch out for me all the time now. It's not Michael's problem, now it's his, I don't.
You're right. Did you have anything, Tom? You good?
No, it's just, meeting with our town clerk, and I believe you're familiar with it, but we're looking to try to increase hours by having a third person, so that major projects can get done, which would include mausoleum and things like that.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done prior to that. I was obviously in that meeting today as well. A lot of things that would go into that, but there's some discussion, and if this is done correctly and we involve the people that are working for the town already, not to put more on your plate, it could be self-funding at some point. So we don't want to get cart ahead of the horse, but we started that discussion today to make sure that we're not just taking care of people walking in the front door answering the phones, we're actually taking care of things that are coming down the pipeline for the town as well, out of the town clerk's office, so.
And part of the reason for this is that we've had a different number of clerks over the past few years, and the filing system and the way that they went about the business didn't transfer to, be very productive in that regards, and we need to do, and we want to do a little bit more if possible with service to the community, so that it's more convenient for them to come in.
Yeah, and Jay has offered to step up and do some training on the system. But I think one of the things that he brought up, and again, I don't wanna get too into the weeds here, but for most people, most working people, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 9 to 4 is not overly convenient to come to the town. And so to create an option, and again, just throwing it out there, every other Saturday, 8 to noon, or, you know, an evening during the week until 8 o'clock, or something to make it more convenient for those people who can't otherwise come during normal
Yeah.
working hours. But all in discussions, nothing's on the table that's definitive, but nothing's off the table.
What I find is inconvenient for working hours is the 6 o'clock in the morning meetings and 7 o'clock in the morning meetings.
You're up at 3, aren't you?
She's good.
Not exactly.
You'll be good.
Yeah, I know you're fine.
Anything else? I do see the need to go into executive session, to discuss the work history of one team member. Could I have a motion for executive session?
So moved.
Dana? I have a second?
There wasn't any other areas that we had to cover, was there?
No, as long as you've done the committee.
Second.
Dan? Could I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mrs. Abella,
Yes?
Mr. Bosley,
Yes.
Ms. Kelting,
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes, we'll go into executive session at 6:22 PM. No action to be taken.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm gonna make a motion that we don't go into executive session, we put that off for a few minutes, because we have Jess from Planning and Community Development here to do a short presentation to the board. So I'll make a motion to delay executive session.
Well, if that's what we need, I'll second that.
Okay, so,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I always like to see their
Okay, Jess.
presentations of planning.
Hey, I try to follow the rules. I know I don't have the floor unless I'm called upon, so
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna interrupt. So as most of you know, we have talked about, improving the break room space for the front of the, let me go up there. For the last couple of years, we've talked about it on and off, about doing something different with the break room. The sink doesn't have hot water for very long, it's hard to do dishes when we have parties, and there's not room to prepare food, etc. And everything in there's starting to break down a little bit, the shelves are in rough shape, etc. So we had talked about it originally when we were gonna install the water cooler, which is now in the hallway. So that part's been taken care of. But we still struggle when it comes to putting on events for the town. There's not a lot of space. We invested in like the chafing dishes and the supplies to put parties on ourselves, try and save money because catering costs are pretty extreme when you try to cater for 70 to 80 people. So we had proposed a couple of different options. We had talked about what it would look like if we just improved the break room space as it is. It wouldn't solve all the problems. For example, right now you can only seat 4 people in there during lunch. There's 30-ish people that share it. It's not very convenient when everybody's trying to use lunch at the same time. Back before COVID, most people didn't really eat at their desks, or they shut their doors so they could have a real lunch break uninterrupted. Now that's not really possible anymore, and everyone just kind of got used to eating at their desks. But the break room can have a little bit of a traffic jam during break time for that reason. So I ran a couple numbers of different options. We could pivot and go to a catered option for events and just, put all of the stuff we bought into like obsolete equipment. We don't wanna do that, but it's an option, it's up to you guys. The other option would be to do a very small upgrade to the kitchen, would be like a deeper sink, a bigger hot water tank, fix the countertop, but that wouldn't fix the seating problem or the storage problem. Right now we store party supplies in Trevor's cupboards, in the spare room in our department, in the kitchen, and I think, and in the mailroom. So right now it's everywhere, because there's just not enough space in any one of those places for all of it. So the larger option, project option, would be to expand the break room into the mailroom space, make it a much larger break room, and then turn what has been called the LDC office or the deputy supervisor's office into the mailroom. From the math I've done and the layouts I've drawn, that's totally possible with the equipment we have. The printer would fit in there. You could still keep a desk and a phone in there for interns or deputy supervisors, whoever needs it. What I suggested with that would be to still do the sink, still do the hot water tank, new countertop, because the one in there started to kind of fall off. And then we'd have lower cupboards along the wall that could store all those party supplies and other supplies we have, because the other thing we have is the rec department does a lot of programming as well that involves like the food program in the summer. So then the fridge also gets very congested often, especially in the summer. So we would suggest that we keep the fridge we have. We have somebody we know who's renovating their kitchen. They just bought a house and they're willing to give us their range and their fridge if we're willing to take it. So we would have more room to prepare. We'd also have about 12 seats if we did 3 sets of 4 of seating in there. So it'd be like an island type space, so they'd have like a prep space for events. And then 2 lower seating spaces for break rooms, so you can still do both at the same time if you ever needed to, because sometimes we do breakfast, sometimes we do lunches. And then theoretically, we wouldn't have to worry about people sharing, the microwaves, only one microwave. This way we have maybe 2 microwaves and the stove if we needed it for heating food, because right now there's just one oven sitting in the middle of the floor in the water department that we plug in as needed, and we cook food all over the garages out back as needed. So this would make a pretty big improvement, especially with the seating for everybody. So that option would cost, with my estimate, that not including whatever electrical Rick would have to potentially do if he was willing, about $2,700. So those are the numbers I've come up with for the options. But
Where does the mailroom go?
The mailroom would be in the LDC office. So we would just move all the equipment out of the mailroom into the LDC office.
And there's enough room in there to put all the,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
that's good,
Sounds good.
that's interesting. I haven't heard that one before. Okay,
Yeah,
Well, as
I'm excited
as
about it.
a taxpayer who doesn't use the break room, but sees the number of people that we employ at the town and in this office, $2,700 is literally a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Well-
And we'd also tear out the carpet, put a hard surface down, which would help a lot with the wear and tear in that room as well.
And safety.
Yes.
And that, I believe, those materials, I think we have enough.
Some we do,
on
yes.
there.
They have leftovers from doing park buildings for some of this, so
The
some of this is
flooring,
a savings.
LVT,
And I factored in
probably, yeah.
all of that being new. I don't know exactly what Rick has,
Mhm.
but some of this we already do have. And it's basically all unfinished cabinetry that they would just stain and finish, put like the Formica type countertop on.
would we have to go out to bid?
Not if we do it ourselves, Tom.
No, I think we'd be doing
Less
this
than-
in-house, and I did talk to Rick, we
Mhm.
talked to
Yes.
Rick on Monday about this, and, they're very excited
Mhm.
about, it's the kind of thing, there's a lot of pride in this building. There's a lot of pride over the space, about, that podium, the
Right, it's
facilities
beautiful.
department built, and it's beautiful, desks they build.
Mhm.
There's a lot of pride in that work,
Mhm.
and so I think this is a much needed, all the other departments around have break rooms. And, this is, for the number of people that are out of the garages and the work area that use this space, again, it's that sense of community that we want our staff to feel, like they have a place to go and eat lunch together. Because right now, you put 4 people in there and you can't get to the refrigerator.
Right.
So.
Because we also have the cart that we bought with the grant for when we do like the smaller kind of celebration stuff.
Right.
I always thought it was very generous that you called that closet a break room. But
Well, and the funny thing is, if you look at the old blueprints of the building, where the mailroom is, it shows that all as the break room.
Yeah.
And if you go in and look at the wall that's there, that wall was obviously added on after. Because if you walk in the door of the mailroom and look down against this wall facing out this way, there's an outlet right there that's almost touching the corner.
Right.
So obviously they built the wall in well after
I was gonna
that.
say, maybe it was half in.
No, I think it was there, so I think at one point that was wide open, so. So what I would suggest, yeah, Tom?
Oh, I just wanna say, before I, approve it or anything, you're gonna keep the place where you get the candy bars, aren't you?
Yes,
So-
yeah, we're not gonna get rid of the vending machine. The vending machine has actually worked very well. It has helped us subsidize a lot of our events. Michelle always puts whatever extra she makes into
Yep.
the funds that we use to do retirements and birthdays and stuff like that, so.
So what I would suggest at this point, if anybody wants to see anything further that Jess has drawn up, stop in and see her. And then if somebody wants to take up the option of prepping a resolution, absolutely, we can do that. You can work with either Jess and or Emily
There,
to
I
prep
would love to.
prep a
We
resolution.
don't have to go through codes, do we?
We'll bring Steve in on it, so, make sure.
And the only
We
reason,
don't have to, that's for sure.
the only reason I'm volunteering to do this is because I had the pleasure of having a tour with Mr. Rasco with facilities, and he took me around the whole building, and that room really is teeny tiny. And you could tell that he really enjoys taking care of people, and I saw where the oven was out in the garage, and it just doesn't function. So, the staff is important, we have to take care of them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
thank you for doing that.
Well, we're not voting now though, right? We have to
No.
wait till
No,
next
No,
week.
we'll prep a resolution.
Thank you, Jess.
Yeah,
That's
Jess,
Thank
as
you,
always,
Jess, and
thank you.
Jess, my apologies.
No, it's okay.
Very good
Good way to use
presentation.
some of the unexpected tax money.
Yeah.
It really
No,
is.
absolutely, it's for the benefit of the employees.
And don't worry, we'll catch him when
I just wanna come and spend my Thursday night here watching you.
Yes,
all.
I know that's what you were doing,
Covered.
and we
My
do
bad,
appreciate that you come.
completely my fault.
I'm looking forward
I'll
to
be
the
back
next
next
grill and
week.
chill.
Yeah.
Yep,
Thank you.
thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
So,
You need a motion.
yeah, let's,
We,
yeah, I do see the need to do an executive
We go
session
into
for the
executive
discussion
session.
of, work history of one individual. Can I have a motion?
Well,
So
we delayed the.
So you wanna,
Just,
We'll undo the delay, I
Yeah.
motion that.
okay, so can we have a motion to come out of the delay for executive session?
Main delay's over, they're taking the tarp off.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, who had the motion?
Tom.
Tom had the
Tom.
motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
It's 6:24.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Jane.
We'll figure out how to push
I
those
just put them
videos
both
together.
on there, that's all, part one and part two like that.
Should make some of those
Thank you,
Pop-Tarts in the new kitchen.